As we wrap up this Windows Server Administration course, let's reflect on the essential skills you've acquired. You've delved into the world of Windows Server, mastering installations and configurations, whether through GUI or Server Core. Active Directory has become second nature with user and group management at your fingertips, and you've learned to enforce security with group policy. You've tackled DNS and DHCP, ensuring smooth network operations, and set up file and print services like a pro. Security management is now part of your toolkit, with firewall configurations and auditing practices to safeguard your environment. Remote access and networking skills will empower you to connect users securely, while storage and backup management ensure your data is safe. You've explored Windows Update services for effective patch management, and learn to monitor server performance with tools like Performance Monitor. PowerShell scripting has opened doors for automation, making your administrative tasks more efficient. Finally, you've grasped the importance of high availability and disaster recovery planning. As we conclude this Windows Server Administration course, let's summarize the key concepts and skills you've learned throughout the course to ensure you're well prepared for real-world administration tasks. You gained an understanding of what Windows Server is and how it differs from client editions. This includes different editions of Windows Server like Standard, Data Center, Essentials, and their respective features. We covered the basics of installing Windows Server, including both GUI and Server Core installation options. You learned how to set up the initial configuration, including network settings and Active Directory roles. You were introduced to the concepts of Active Directory, including domain controllers, users, groups, and organizational units, OUs. We explore how to manage users and groups using Active Directory users and computers, including best practices for creating, modifying, and deleting users, OSH groups. You learned how to configure and apply group policy objects, GPOs, to enforce security and system settings across an organization. You learned how to configure and manage DNS on a Windows server, including setting up zones, forwarding, and troubleshooting DNS issues. We covered how to install and configure DHCP servers to automatically assign IP addresses to clients within a network. You gained hands-on experience in setting up file shares, configuring permissions, and managing access to shared folders. You learned how to configure printers and print servers, including troubleshooting print jobs and managing print queues. We discussed Windows firewall settings and how to configure them for securing servers and allowing necessary traffic. You learned how to manage Windows Defender for real-time protection and set up antivirus policies. We covered auditing tools to monitor and log security events, including setting up audit policies and reviewing logs. You learned how to enable and configure remote desktop for users, including managing user sessions and security settings. You gained an understanding of how to configure VPN connections to securely connect remote users to the corporate network. We explored common networking tools like ping, tracer, and end lookup for troubleshooting connectivity issues. You learned about partitioning, formatting, and managing disks on a Windows server, including configuring RAID and configuring virtual hard disks, VHDs. We covered strategies for backing up Windows servers using built-in tools like Windows Server Backup and how to restore data when necessary. You learned how to configure and manage Windows Update settings and implement WSUS, Windows Server Update Services, for centralized patch management. You understand the importance of patch management in securing the server environment and ensuring software stability. We covered tools like Performance Monitor, Task Manager, and Event Viewer for monitoring system health and performance. You learned how to manage resources like CPU, RAM, and disk space efficiently and configure alerts for system performance issues. You were introduced to PowerShell for automating administrative tasks and configuring servers efficiently. You learned how to use CMD alerts for user management, file system tasks, and service configuration. You gained experience in writing simple PowerShell scripts to automate repetitive tasks. You learned the basics of creating and managing failover clusters to ensure service availability. We discussed the importance of having a disaster recovery plan, including backup strategies and maintaining high availability. This course focused heavily on practical skills. You've had opportunities to configure and troubleshoot various services, which will help you in real-world scenarios. We highlighted the importance of security throughout the course, including securing your servers, protecting data, and monitoring for any potential threats. PowerShell and automation practices are critical in Windows Server administration, making it easier to manage large-scale environments. Maintaining server health through regular monitoring, patching, and backups is essential for long-term system stability. Always keep an eye on new updates, features, and best practices for Windows Server. Consider pursuing certifications like the Microsoft Certified Windows Server Hybrid Administrator Associate, Exam AZ 800, or the Microsoft Certified Windows Server Administrator, Exam AZ 801. The more you work with Windows Server, the more you will become proficient in managing and troubleshooting it. Set up a home lab to experiment and hone your skills. Engage in online communities and forums for Windows Server admins to exchange tips and troubleshoot complex issues. By mastering these concepts, you'll be ready to manage and maintain Windows Server environments effectively, ensuring smooth operations and minimizing downtime. Good luck with your journey in Windows Server administration. Remember, hands-on practice is key. Stay updated, consider certifications, and engage with the community. With these skills, you're well equipped to excel in Windows Server administration.